Hi, welcome to the Brain Dead Pod. Fucking goddamn it! Welcome to the show. I'm Bo.
I'm Gage, and this is the
Brain Dead Podcast. So how are you doing today?
Pretty good. We mainly, this is our first podcast episode that we're talking about today. We kind of wanted to get in depth into, why we're doing this, who we're doing this for, and kind of talk about ourselves as well, because, we don't want to just sound like two Joe Schmo schmucks just spouting off stuff, even though, we really don't know a lot. We're not that old, but, we think
we're learning.
We're learning, and that's kind of the whole point, is we kind of want to grow with this and learn with this.
That's more than we can say about a lot of people in the car community today.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later.
And that's kind of a thing that we really have noticed a lot, is a lot of people you'll see online who do their own podcast, car-related, they tend to just kind of spout off what they think is best or what they think is dumb. But then at the end of the day, like, not saying that some of these people don't have credibility, but it's kind of hard on the little guys, like, like us, where we're like, I don't have $100,000 yet, or I'm just rocking with what I got. And, we kind of wanted to also in that kind of tie that into, we do this oftenly just for the years that me and him have been friends. We'll ride around for hours and talk about a multitude of things, from cars to music to TV to shows to a brand new fucking t-shirt I bought. So we've kind of figured, we enjoy doing that. So why don't we try and make something from that? So I'll let Bo start with his introduction about himself. And
all right, so my name's Bo. I am 21. I work at Michelin. And fun fact about the place I work at, you see any Corvettes on the road or Teslas, I believe it's only the Plaids, or like any of the big dog models, any of the ones that have Michelin tires, like the big dog Michelin tires, they're made at my plant.
Okay.
No other factory in the world makes those tires. Which is pretty cool.
That is actually a pretty cool fact.
Also, all the tires in the Gran Turismo movie and all the tires that the Corvette racing team uses are also only made in our plant.
Huh. Even like regular like production models for the Corvettes?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So the E-Ray, the Z06, or what? I forget what the new one is. I think it is the Z06. I think
it might be. I don't
really know. I haven't really
not my cup of tea.
I haven't really been paying attention to the C8. I don't really care for it that much, to be honest with you. A little bit about what got me into cars. My dad, he's worked on cars most of his life. He had a 71 Mustang that he basically turned into a Mach 1, which I thought was pretty cool. I never seen it. He sold it long before I was born.
Pre-bow time.
Yeah, no, this is pre-me.
Pre-bow time.
This was probably back in like the
90s,
the 80s, 90s. Yeah. My uncles, they drag raced. One had a Nova, the other had a Camaro. One of my uncles actually offered me to do junior dragsters, and I was a scared little bitch boy and did not want to because I was scared of speed. Nowadays, I look back and I'm thinking, you little fuck. If only you had done that, imagine the doors that could have opened.
If you would have just allowed the gate to open.
If only you would have just said, fuck it, I'll do it, instead of being a little crybaby bitch and worrying about, it's fast, I'm scared. Maybe I would have, actually been doing something good.
You could have been the new Vin Diesel.
I could have been the new family. Yeah, my dad actually had a Nova, a Camaro whenever I was born, but he had to sell it a little after I was born just because, having a new kid requires a lot of money, have to sell some shit.
I know that.
It takes a lot of money for a drag car.
Yeah,
even at the level he was at. It was just grassroots, just garage built, small block Chevy.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. He also had a Nova growing up that I used to really love, and that he sold.
Yeah, I know you told me about that a good bit.
No reason, to my knowledge, why he actually sold it. Thing was really badass. He rebuilt the motor and trans himself, forward 9-inch rear end. Thing was bad as hell.
'Twas a hoss.
Dude, that thing was a fucking hoss. Couple of cars that I've owned. High school, I got my mom's hand-me-down. It was a little 2002 Mitsubishi Diamante. If you don't know, it was like Mitsubishi's entry into the luxury market back in the early 2000s. It was a really nice car. I really liked it, and honestly, if I could find that car again, I would buy it.
Just for the like memories. And
yeah,
like,
just for the memories. 'Cause that thing was cool. I will say that car was, most car guys, their first car was like their little rice box Civic with a fart can and cheap eBay intake.
Hey man, you do what you can.
Shit.
You do what you can.
Yeah, I literally got that car and like a few months later, chopped the fucking exhaust off and put like bird shit welded pipes on there, and I honestly it sounded decent, and I'm honestly kind of surprised. I actually, funnily enough, got more comments on how good it sounded in that car than any of my other cars.
It's funny how that happens. It's always the weird shit.
Yeah, after that, because the torque converter went out, and honestly, I sold that car for $400 just because of a fucking torque converter. I could have easily done that myself.
Yeah, no. That now knowing knowledge that we have now, that would have been.
At the time I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Holy shit. I sold that car, and I honestly, I kind of fucking regret it because it was kind of a piece of shit, but I loved it. Mm-hmm. After that, after the torque converter went out and I sold it, I ended up buying a 97 hardbody, which I still have today. It is an absolute POS, but I love it.
Hey,
I just have a thing for piece of shit cars.
I mean, hey, we all love our piece of shit things.
I'm telling you, man, you can't kill a single jingle KA.
Single jingle.
And
single dangle.
I'll tell you what, it sure as hell jingles. That fucking timing chain's a bitch. And I've even done the fucking timing chain tensioner, and it still rattles for whatever reason. But I'm not worried about it. Whatever. If it blows, it blows. I'll stick another fucking motor in and I can buy another motor for like $400.
Yeah.
I actually ended up blowing the fifth gear.
Speaking of blowing up.
No. Fifth gear stuck.
Stuck. My bad.
Fifth gear stuck. While I was like maybe 5 minutes outside of downtown Atlanta. Mm-hmm. The scariest fucking thing ever. 4 lanes wide. Fucking traffic everywhere. Fifth gear stuck, and I'm in the far left lane, and I'm sitting there freaking out. So I pull over as well as I could. Ended up
with what you got.
Yeah, it ended up costing me $700 to fucking tow it because I went through some fucking exotic towing company, and I didn't realize it was an exotic towing company.
Yeah, you probably blew their fucking mind when they were like,
they were like, who the fuck? I mean, shit, he got the money. Fuck it, whatever.
Hey,
pick
man,
it up and tow it.
They're probably not going to turn down work.
Yeah.
Especially how easy it would be to tow your truck.
I was too like stressed out to really give a shit about how much it cost. I was like, well, it is Atlanta. And then my mom sent me a picture of the towing truck, and it was like some fancy exotic car towing. And I was like, oh,
son of a bitch.
That makes more sense. After that, I was trying to segue into, I bought another hard body. I believe it was a 96 or something. It's pre-OBD2. Mm-hmm. I remember that much, just for the transmission to fix it. And then shortly after that, I had the power steering pump I can't remember. You said it was the... No, it wasn't the power steering.
It was the pulley, right?
It was a tensioner pulley.
Yeah, it was a tensioner pulley.
It was a tensioner pulley that the bearing had just got... It seized up and exploded. Yeah. Belt flew off, and I thought I had something severely fucked up with it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, well, time to buy another car. And so I bought a Volvo, a V70, 2002, I believe. And
which is one of my favorite cars that he has ever owned. As much as a piece of shit it was probably one of my favorite fucking cars he's ever owned.
It was one of my favorites that I've ever owned. Just because 5-cylinder wagon, it wasn't anything. It was literally, it wasn't even the big dog like turbo motor. It was the fucking NA like 2.3 or some 5-cylinder motor.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah. Which it's funny because I've asked people who are Volvo people, and they're like, "Dog, those are not reliable." And I was like, "Hey, it served him well, so I mean, it did its job."
Honestly, I'd buy another one. I had to really do some research.
Yeah, actually learn about them
into the Windows side of things, because that was like the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. Because like the window like regulators or like the slides were made out of plastic, and they just got brittle and old and always broke. Mm-hmm. The sunroof got stuck open once, taped it up.
I remember that.
And then I smacked the radiator into a curb at the vape shop, and then we
replaced the radiator in freezing weather at
Yeah.
Staples at like 11 o'clock at night till like 2 in the morning.
It was fun. Then after that, got a Mazda Speed 3 2010.
Yeah.
So it was a Gen 2 or second gen.
Same difference.
Yeah, same difference.
Same difference.
Owned the car for 2 weeks. Raced a Focus ST and blew it up, money shifting, or blew up the turbo.
Blew the turbo, yeah.
Blew the turbo, money shifting the piss
That
out
was
of it.
such a, oh my God, that night we pulled into my driveway, and he had the biggest smile on his face because he had like just pulled on the ST. And funny enough, we were down the road from where we ran this guy. We pull in, biggest smile on his face, and I just see his smoke just bellowing out like a fucking smoke machine. I'm like, yo, cut it off. We pop the hood and we look at it, and it was like no oil in the dipstick. And I was like, all right, well, who knows? You could be like a quart down. We'll check it tomorrow. Went and got oil, put a quart in, nothing. Put another quart in, nothing. Put another quart, just then finally showed up on the dipstick. It was, oh God.
It was so fucking bad. Anyway, the car sat for many months because I was scared to touch it.
Many months.
Because that was my first race car, in quotation marks, that I had ever owned. And it scared the shit out of me because it was also the first turbo car that I had ever owned. And so I finally ended up buying a turbo with like 40K miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was
From a friend of mine. Yeah, my friend Ryan, yeah.
Yeah. And put that on, and it did okay, but it
was never the same.
It was never the same. It still smoked at full throttle.
Yeah.
It very much scared me a lot of times. I'd never beat that car afterwards.
Yeah. Most of the time, I would beat it for him just to be sure.
Sold it, and then funnily enough, like right after, one of our friends that work at the Audi dealership that I sold it to told us that one of the salesmen went and drove it and basically fucked the motor. I was like, well, I'm glad it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Glad
Don't
it
hate the
wasn't
play,
me.
I hate the game.
I got severely fucked on how much I got back from it, but as long as it wasn't on my hands anymore, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the Jetta, the 09 Jetta Mark V wagon, 2.5, 5-speed. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Took me a long time for him to finally get a Volkswagen. It was honestly, it was really cool. It was kind of a perfect timing because a friend of mine who's like not really a Volkswagen head, but he just had the Volkswagen. He hit me up because he knows I love him and was like, hey man, you want to buy this? And I was like, oh dude, I'd love to. I don't really have the money right now. And I was like, this is the perfect car that Bodie's been looking for. So how about let me transfer over what you got and everything over to Bo. And Bo ended up buying it, I think, days later? If not a week later?
Yeah, like a week later.
Yeah, like a week later.
I ended up being able to save up the money again. I got it for dumb fucking shit too.
Well, and it kind of and the nice thing is it wasn't like anything was wrong with it. It was just Carson was just, he had something bigger in mind, and he was like, oh well, at least I'm giving it to friends. Yeah. So, and then the fun fact of it was, at the end of the day, this friend of ours had this car all throughout high school, and we always knew about the car. And then when I went to the shop that I work at currently, I found out that was actually my boss's old car, and it just, so like we got to actually know the ownership history of it for like a while, for like the past probably 5-6 years, I'd honestly say.
Yeah, no, I love that car. I want to do a lot of shit to that car.
Yeah, I've been helping him we've been getting some things tied up and set up for it.
Yeah, I might buy his CHRs that he wanted to trade for some shit-looking wheels.
Hey, man, you like what you like.
how are you gonna trade some BBS CHRs for? I don't even know what other BBS
that's
wheels
what was
they
so
are.
cool.
But they look like stock Jetta wheels. They looked exactly like stock Jetta wheels. So why put stock Jetta wheels that say BBS on the fucking Jetta?
Because it made me happy.
You hurt my head. Mm-hmm. You know that? You hurt my head. Yeah, but like I said, big JDM guy starting to get into Euro cars. I will say, I do very much like Porsches. I don't know a whole lot about them just because I'm kind of new to them, but I do like me a spicy Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I do like me a
Volkswagen with a lot of sriracha.
Especially the 993 GT2. Oh, God, that gets me.
That's what does the trick.
That gets the blood flowing, dude. I'm telling you, old school GT2s, man.
Gets the heart pumping and the cock rocking. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, dude. I would kill for that. I would do dastardly things for that car. Absolutely devious things for that. I don't know if you want to. You wanna go ahead and go, because the rest of the stuff I have the one to talk about is stuff that we could both talk about.
Yeah. So I'm Gage. I'm 22. I'm in South Carolina, from South Carolina, like Bo. We're from here. Funny enough, I'm kind of on the flip side. So my dad was really into cars, but I never really, caught the love or the passion until I actually got a lot older and I was in high school, and I got my first vehicle. Like my dad, when I was younger, he's a huge Ford head, so he had a bunch of Mustangs. He had, when I believe before I was born, he had an SN95 Cobra clone, and then as Bo was saying with his dad, kind of sold it. Can't have a 2-door coupe car when you have a 1-month-old child, so he ended up selling it and just had an F-150. And then recently, he's actually gotten a bunch of other things. He had a 67 coupe with a 302, and it was really cool. That was actually probably the first car where I started doing stuff with him and like legitimately learning and like helping him, like, adjust the throttle body and adjust a carburetor and just like doing spark plugs, like doing little things. But when you're 13, 14, it's cool. It's your first time doing it, especially when you're doing it hands-on instead of like watching a YouTube video. And then when I went to school, he sold that and then he actually bought a Fox body because he loves those. That was always his like dream car when he was in high school, was a Fox body. So he ended up getting a Fox body, which, funny enough, was a convertible. So I had high doubts. I was like, dog, this is gonna be trash. I don't know why you got this. But then I came back home one weekend and I sat in it and I was like, all right, I understand. It's pretty fucking nice.
I think I understand.
I think now I get it. Wind blowing, Van Halen full blast on the radio. I see the vibes. I can feel them. They're pretty immaculate.
The vibes are immaculate.
And then he actually just recently, like I want to say what like a month, 2 months ago, he had something.
I'd say at the beginning of the month.
Yeah, right? No, it would have been about the beginning of last month, about December. Well, that's what that's what happened with the Fox. There was a long story short, something happened with the Fox, but he ended up not getting rid of it and selling it. And was because my dad's getting older, he was like, I just kind of want something that's newer. I don't want to have to do any more stuff. So he ended up buying a 2012, I think it's a 2012, first body Coyote car. S197, thank you. I couldn't fucking remember for once. S197, that is a Roush car. It's actually a Stage 3, Phase 3 upgrade supercharged kit for it. And it's pretty cool. I mean, I like Ford because of like growing up with my dad. I do really like and appreciate Ford, but
I think it's funny you grew up as a Ford guy and I grew up as a Chevy guy.
I know it's quite hilarious, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty stout. Me myself personally, so funny enough, I actually, again, like to restate back to what I was saying. So like I said, I never really was into cars, but then when I got into high school and I got my first car, which was a Ford Sport Track that was, can I say, dripped out in Louis Vuitton, down to the seats, to the floor mats, even the fucking steering wheel. I kid you not.
Shit was drippy.
It was pretty fucking drippy. Had that for like I don't even think a year. I think I had it for like 7 months. That bitch went into the back of a Ford Taurus.
Hell yeah.
And then I was like, getting rides around all the time. And I remember this one day I saw a Toyota Celica and I was like, that's it. Because when I was in high school, as Bodie is now, I was really into JDM. That's what I liked. So I got the Toyota Celica, and I thought...
It made me sound like I was in high school. I'm very much not in high school.
I said when. Calm down. Calm your tits.
Okay.
And then I had that. I loved that car. I did some things, like, I didn't really do anything to it, but as Bo said, as you do with your first racer car, chop that fucking muffler off and straight pipe the fuck out of it. And I loved that car. I had so many memories of that car. And then that went into a school bus at 50 miles per hour my senior year. And then it was like, well, I really like JDM. What's a really cool car right now? So I got a manual G35, which is really funny because I got it right before, like, they started just being everybody wanted them, like 350Z, any HRDE motor. Like, I'm super happy that I got to enjoy that then because I got the car for like $4,000. and it had like
I wish so bad you could buy a G or Z right now for that much.
It was the six
in good condition.
It was a 6-speed HR. I mean, it was a G35, so they all not HR DE. It was a DE block. They all came with DEs, and it was really cool because like I had learned manual when I was a little bit younger, working on cars with my dad. But that's what really taught me manual. And then I loved that. And then so when I was in high school, my friends were all going to UTI. Or the one that we went to is NTI, NASCAR Technical Institute up in North Carolina. And literally the day before I was supposed to move, the fucking night before.
Calm down. Stop hitting the table.
Well, that's what the fucking motor started doing. It started beating, fucking knocking and ticking literally the day before. And then so it was like, well, crap, I don't want to do the 3-hour drive up North Carolina. So moved up there. We ended up selling the car. And because my dad was like, I'll let you make the decision. We can either sell it or buy a motor and replace it. And I was like, you know what? I'm off on my own. The smarter thing to do would be a good, reliable car. And I got a Jetta, not thinking anything of it. My mind was like, I'll just get this. I'll pay it off, and I'll just go buy another JDM car. And boy, was I fucking wrong. Since then, I have owned my Mark 6, my Mark 7, my Mark 4, my Mark 3, my Mark 5, another Mark 7, another Mark 5. I've owned 7 Volkswagens in the like 4 years of that time, and I've loved Volkswagens ever since. And because of that, I had that one. And after I came back from school, I actually got really upset with cars. I was like, I had a really weird situation going on up there, and COVID happened. So I was like, I'm just gonna come home. I'm just gonna forget it. And I was just doing the job here, whatever. And then I just couldn't stop. I was like, I really want to get back into cars. So I started doing stuff to that Jetta, and I was like, I'm happy. I'm legitimately happy doing these things and modifying this car, because it was really the first car I modified. Even though it wasn't like I did anything crazy. All I did was like a blow off valve and coilovers and wheels and little things. Not even anything in my mind. If I saw that today, I'd be like, okay, pal. But it was cool to me at the time. And so with that, I was like, well, you know what? I want to get back into doing this stuff. So I got a job at a quick oil change place. And well, actually before that, I had sold the Jetta and bought my Mark 7 GTI. It was a 2-door 2015. Loved that car. I had so many great memories in that car. And then I worked at a quick oil change place. And then I used that to have a little bit of credibility, and I went to work at the dealer. But funny enough, when I went to go to the dealer, I couldn't get hired as a technician. They actually made me a porter. I don't know if you don't know what a porter is, it's basically the dude when you pull your car up who drives and parks your car and maybe gets some information. That's all. And at first, hearing that, I was like distraught. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, come the fuck on. I worked in an oil change place. I can at least change the oil and learn. Yeah. But, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. They said that when time is there, they will put me back there. And I did my time, and I honestly appreciate that to this day. I met a lot of cool people. I got to learn a lot of face value stuff to Volkswagen because I was very new. I didn't know anything about Volkswagens. I honestly just knew about my GTI because I had been starting to modifying it and doing things like tuning it and downpipe and intercooler and then lowering it. And I had slowly learned. And then once I got to be a technician, I got to really learn and getting in depth and actually learning. I mean, obviously, I would say I can work on a Volkswagen easy peasy, but I appreciate the fact that it taught me how to work on cars right. Like, no knock on anybody on YouTube. Chris Fix, everybody knows and loves Chris Fix.
Hi, Chris Fix here.
Hi, Chris Fix here. but I wanted to learn the right way. I wanted to learn how OE way to work on a vehicle without, possibly harming myself or harming the car at that point. And I appreciate that. And in that time, being there, I got to learn. I got to make my GTI big turbo. I got to go more in depth on rebuilding and tearing down on vehicles. And then I sold that. And everybody said I was fucking crazy. Well, actually, in that time, I had bought an anniversary GLI as kind of a side project because I had known of the car for years through other ownerships. And I was like, well, I love these cars. I want this one really, really bad. So I had owned that as like a side project. But then in that time frame, I sold my Mark 7. And everybody thought I was fucking crazy because I sold my 2015 somewhat new car for a 97 GLX VR6 Mark III. And again, everybody thought I was fucking crazy. But I really appreciate the time of me owning that because, again, that I was so used to the new because working at the dealer, all you see is the new. Literally, the oldest car you might see is something from like 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate owning that because that kind of taught me how Volkswagens were built then instead of how they're built now. And in all reality, it's helped me a lot, especially where I work at now. And then I sold that because around that time, me and my wife, we found out we were having a kid. So I was like, well, can't be a jackass. So I need to buy something that can actually be somewhat better. So I bought a 4Runner, had that for a little while, but I just couldn't scratch the itch. So I sold it literally a month later and bought another Mark 7, bought a TDI wagon. But in that time frame, my wife, she bought a Mark 5 Jetta. So, but because we were having our kid, and I wanted her to be in something nicer and newer and better fuel economy, and being a wagon, it's got a lot of room. It's very very comfortable. She drives that, and then I drive a almost the exact same thing as Bodie. Actually, I drive a Mark 5 2.5 Jetta non-wagon, just regular sedan model, which I've again it's been a learning process. And that's one of the reasons why I like Volkswagens is, to me at least, it's a huge learning process on every generation you go to, especially like how the subframes were and how they mounted the engines and the transmissions and like the motors, how they were set up then. Because my VR had a single ignition coil and ignition wires, but then obviously you look at new cars nowadays, there's just coil packs on every cylinder. Mm-hmm. So it's been, but this Mark V, honestly, this has probably been up there with one of my favorite cars because I've actually gotten to dive into, in my opinion, the true Volkswagen-ness into it, like putting a new Beetle engine cover, which it's not like they're rare, but it's not very common. Not a lot of people do that. Doing, I put Atlas wheels, Prismus wheels. Spoiler alert, I really love those fucking wheels because I had the exact same wheels on my GTI.
They look better on the GTI.
They do look they did look fucking phenomenal on the GTI, but it's just a good spec wheel. There's nothing wrong. It's OE. You don't have to do anything funky like hub space, like hubs or hub-centric rings. That's what I'm trying to say, or spacers or anything like that. But like I've done like new Beetle headrests, which anybody who's like into Mark 3s and Mark 4s know that was a really common thing. You put the big O headrest in your seats. I swapped out like early Mark 5 wood trim interior just to kind of give it like a better look. GTI flat bottom steering wheel. Lowered on SoloWorks coilovers. And I'm trying to think. I know I've been collecting black trim interior and actually a lot of Votex parts for it, like the Votex taillights, Votex floor mats, full Votex body kit, and and my future plans with it probably be to do a 6-speed swap, just because as much as I like daily and automatic, I feel like it's nice. I can be just lazy. Mm-hmm. I miss driving a manual. I miss dailying a manual. And it just I've always wanted to do a swap, either from a motor to a transmit, whatever. I've always just wanted to do a swap. So that's probably the plan right now. But I have other cars that I'm rebuilding, and I'm actually trying to fix and sell to fund these projects as you do, because as I've learned,
ain't free.
As I've learned as being a mechanic for a couple years now, from the dealer world to now independent world, you make okay money, but you don't get to work on your own shit. So it's better off if you can at least buy things to flip and fix, because then that at least can help fund the little side things you like having fun to do. But that's me. That's my story. But to go a little bit more in depth into like the podcast and the idea of this honestly. So this has been kind of a thing that me and Bodie have had in our brains for actually a really long time. We've been friends for quite a while now. We've been friends for like 4 years, and we had an idea of wanting to do something social media-esque. And at the end of the day, it's always been in the sense of cars, car culture, a little bit of ourselves, because we think we're pretty two cool dudes. But we wanted to kind of have something that either being a YouTube channel or just anything in that sense. We wanted to have something to kind of give people those vibes of after the car meet, sitting, hanging out for hours on end, just like not even talking about cars, talking about a movie you just saw, talking about a phenomenal fucking burger you had the other night, or I mean, or how awesome your Christmas was last month. I mean, that's what we wanted to kind of bring in this essence with Brain Dead Podcast. We wanted to have somewhere where you feel like you're just kind of sitting down, hanging out at the car meet, after the car meet, chilling with the homies. That was the whole gain and idea of this whole mindset. And we actually have a video out of something that we did. We went to Helen. If you don't know, Helen Alpine Volks Fair is a huge Volkswagen event. It's a Volkswagen Audi event, but really huge event. It's actually been going on for a really long time. I want to say almost a decade. Originally, it was called Southern Vortici, SOWO, but that got people got a little crazy, just like H2OI there. So they had to die down, reinvestigate themselves on how they're doing things, and just kind of actually completely reran by a completely new group of people. And but we've been going for the past couple of years now, and we had this idea of like, let's shoot an entire like thing of us being there all on VHS, like literally no cuts to 1080p, 4K, none of that.
We wanted to do that because last year we went, we thought it felt like we had just been transported back into the early 2000s. It's just like all the old cars. There wasn't really much new stuff, and it seemed to fit really well.
Yeah, no, and we loved it. We loved and honestly, there's no better way to say. There's no better way to say it. It's a fucking vibe. It's a fucking vibe being there.
Absolute vibe.
Like, as much as it's been annoying going to meets nowadays and hearing all the just drama and the crap and the bullshit and people honestly ruining everybody's local car scenes. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter if you're in Houston, Texas. It doesn't matter if you're in Seattle, Washington. It's kind of just getting dumbified and numbified. Like, no one's really kind of getting that fun just feeling that you have either going by yourself and meeting new people, or going to see your friends, or going and then going over to somebody else's house, or everybody piling in a car to go to Waffle House to go eat fucking waffles at 2 a.m. But that's what to restate what I'm saying, that's what this was for, and that's what all of our content we plan on producing and making is, just so that the vibes that you miss, that you wish were still going on, we're trying to help kind of add a little piece to that for you.
I just I don't know if you feel the same way about this, but I kind of I feel like I don't really give a shit whether we get paid for this in the future.
Fuck no. This is
the main part that I want to leave some sort of legacy for the car community. Yeah. Because nowadays it's gotten so
tainted. It's so tainted.
It's so easy to become an influencer and use TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and all that to just basically taint the car community. Because nowadays it's more so about, how many followers do I have on my car?
How many views? How many
How many people have seen my car? How many people like my car? Mm-hmm. But it's not about whether other people like your car. It's whether you like your car.
Yeah.
You don't build your car so that somebody else can say, "Oh, that's cool." No, you build it so you could say, "Yeah, look what I did.
I did that.
I enjoy this.
I did that.
This is the way that I enjoy car culture.
This is my puzzle, and I'm gonna piece it how I want. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy the image, dude, awesome. I appreciate that you did. If you don't, hey, you can keep on walking.
I'm so tired of clout chasers getting into the car scene and being like, "Oh, I bought a Miata and I slapped a wide body kit and a turbo on it, and look at me, I'm unique. I have what's the anime stickers called?
Waifu shit.
Yeah, the fucking anime stickers on the side." I mean, if that's what you're into, okay, cool.
But if it floats your boat,
but don't expect it to like make you cool.
Well, see,
you don't have to be cool to enjoy cars.
Yeah, no, and it's sad because the annoying thing is because of that, the quality of builds that have been coming out, I would honestly say the past 3 to 4 years have just been like,
they're super
sad.
They're super cookie cutter.
Super cookie cutter. Super let me get it together just so I can stunt.
Yeah,
like that's.
I miss the early 2000s where you would go to a car meet and you would see, you know, a Civic with a wide body, and you'd be like, whoa, that's kind of cool, or some kind of cool body kit. I mean, obviously nowadays it looks very dated, but I miss it. I miss the times when everybody had a cool paint job and shit looked like, not everything looked like Fast and Furious, but the you know, shit was like Fast and Furious, where everything was like, huh, that's pretty cool.
I know what you mean. You're like kind of saying in the sense of, like, I miss when you could tell someone poured their blood, sweat, and tears.
Exactly.
Instead of somebody got their tax refund and went and bought air ride, three-piece wheels.
Somebody's dad gave them $40,000 and they went and bought a Mustang.
They went and bought a pre-bagged 370Z, and then all they had to do was save
somebody else's build.
And then all they had to do was save up a couple grand and put 3-piece wheels on it, and then just put straight pipe the fuck out of it, 4-inch tips, and then said, check this out. But then the thing that doesn't help is that people who don't know, or these same people who like are just clout chasing, quote unquote, as well, and they thumb it up, and I just I don't get it. I feel maybe I sound like I'm fucking 90, but I don't get it.
And then there's also the part of car culture in quotation marks. I don't consider this car culture at all. I do not associate. Not even 0.5%. Swing meets.
Dumb.
Swing meets are literally the biggest cancer to grace this fucking community.
And it's sad, because the worst part is it's getting to even the most like minute places. Like shit. I mean, what was it, like a month ago I was telling you about? At some swing meet that was going on, they set a security car on fire and pistol whipped a guy. Like, don't get me wrong.
I don't understand why all these dumb shitheads think it's cool to beat somebody up and destroy their property.
What is there to prove? What is there to prove? It's Greenville, South Carolina, my boy.
Do you really think it's cool to be in quotation marks, gang affiliated? It's not cool. Sorry, it's not cool.
It's not cool. And the worst part is it's like, it's kids. It's fucking people.
It's fucking kids.
It's people in their teens, sadly same age as us, and even worse, some people older than us who are all for it. They're promoting it, but the thing is, they don't see the consequences. I mean, there's a couple states. I saw this not too long ago. There's some states that they're making it like there's mandatory jail time if you are caught at one of these things, which is good. I'm glad, because then I'm hoping it'll make people fucking learn.
Have you seen any of the videos of like Atlanta and like the fucking Georgia State Police like
raiding their ass?
Dude,
yeah.
I've seen them absolutely run over people, and honestly, it may technically be police brutality, but honestly, those little fuckheads deserve it.
Yeah,
they're destroying everything that we worked so hard for decades.
Yeah,
our fathers worked for this.
I mean,
our fathers worked for. Do you think that our parents, our grandparents, they chopped up some hot rod and went out and did fucking donuts in the middle of a goddamn intersection? No, they went out to some back road.
They went out to the middle of nowhere.
They went out to the middle of nowhere and did street races.
Yeah, no.
Again, I'm not.
We don't go.
I'm not telling you should go to street race.
But there's correct ways to do it. There's safe ways to do it.
There's safe ways to do it. Don't just go out onto the middle of the fucking interstate and be like, all right, 1, 2, 3, go, and then end up losing control and hitting a family car full of kids and killing them all.
I've seen it countless times.
Or killing yourself.
I've seen it countless times. People being able to just finance this 500 horsepower car and almost hitting everything when they're trying to skeet out of something. And
that's another thing. Why do people think they should start out with a high horsepower car? I started out with a Mazda Speed 3. Thing probably made 300. I don't even remember.
If that, yeah.
If that. I couldn't handle it. I fucking money shifted it. Okay, what makes you think I could just hop in a fucking Hellcat and go bob and weave through fucking traffic?
I know, it's... And the thing that, like, and again, I understand that, like, you know, when you're in the moment, you're having fun. And not to sound like like the dumb old man from down the street where, you boys get off my lawn. But at the same time, I mean, you have to think about, like, when you're doing stuff like that, you're not just, like, your life is not just in your hands. everybody that's around you is in your hands. Because I mean, this crazy thing is every time I watch one of these videos talking about it, it gets worse and worse. It went from bro hit a curb and smashed his wheel to bro hit somebody
And pants him.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Somehow pants dog, and then it's hit another vehicle, and then it goes to beating people in public who are just trying to drive and get home.
Or oh, you hit somebody's car and then they jump out and start shooting at you.
Yeah, and that's what it's crazy, but to revamp from us going on this rant, long story short, we like we said, we just wanted to have a safe space of the sense of it's those vibes that you miss of just hanging out with the homies, talking about cars, and we might a couple times go on to talk about other things because at Bodie's we both very much enjoy music. We both very much love music. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge cinephile. I love movies. I love old school stuff, things like that, and we just wanted to have somewhere to talk about that, and hopefully people enjoy and listen and let us keep doing our thing. I mean, we like I said, we've been doing this a long time, just riding around in cars for hours doing this. So we just figured might as well set it up and broadcast this stuff to the public to that sense. So, well, I think we're going to wrap it up today. This being our first episode, like we said, we just mainly wanted to be an introduction to the podcast, to ourselves, what this is for, and what we hope to blossom from this. Check us out on all different social media accounts. Check out our TikTok. Check out our YouTube. We actually currently have a video, like I said, our Helen video, which was a ginormous brainchild of Bodie. That was, I will give all credit to Bodie. I helped a little bit, but that was like 99.999% Bodie. That was all his brainchild. But I think we're going to sign off today.
We appreciate you for sticking around, and especially if you've watched this long into the video. We very much appreciate it. And stay tuned. Make sure to catch up. Make sure to, look at TikTok and Instagram, and we'll keep you updated. We don't exactly have a dead set schedule as of right now.
Our work schedules are kind of, I work all day and he flip-flops.
He works straight through the week, and I work swing shifts, so it's a little hard. But we will definitely try and come up with some sort of schedule, and we will keep you updated. Just like I said, make sure to tune into TikTok and Instagram for more updates, and we will see you in the next one.
All right, bye.